I remember the night like it was branded into my bones. The night I finally decided to walk away from their words, their doubts, their crushing dismissals. I was 21, sitting in my tiny room, surrounded by crumpled sketches and half-finished outfits, tears threatening to spill. My mother's voice echoed in my head. "Fashion? That's not a real career. You're wasting your time." Her words had cut deeper than I'd ever admit, tearing through my confidence, telling me I was delusional, that I was an embarrassment to the family. That night, I looked at my sketches, imperfect, bold, full of passion, and made a choice. I would prove them wrong, not with words, but with action. I refused to accept their narrow definition of success. I would carve my own path, no matter how many people laughed or dismissed me. The very next day, I launched my online channel. I called it Ava's Affordable Chic, a simple idea. Fashion hacks for people like me, broke but desperate to feel confident. The first few months were brutal. No one watched. My friends thought I'd lost my mind. My family called it a phase, a silly hobby. But I kept going, every comment, every like, fueling my fire. I poured my soul into each video, learning, growing, refining. I was relentless. Slowly, word started spreading. A loyal following emerged. People who saw themselves in my tips, in my struggles. I wasn't just another influencer. I was telling a story of resilience. Then came the breakthrough. A major fashion magazine picked up one of my videos for their online feature. Suddenly, my name was everywhere. I was invited to speak at events, collaborate with small brands, and turn my passion into a thriving online enterprise. Years went by. I built a brand that turned barren, forgotten land into a lush, blooming ecosystem. I used my platform to promote sustainability, eco-friendly fabrics, and community-driven fashion. I transformed what my family once dismissed as ridiculous, from a young woman with a dream to a successful entrepreneur and advocate for positive change. And now, I was coming home, not just as the woman who once sketched in her cramped room, but as someone they couldn't ignore anymore. Someone who had shattered their expectations and perhaps their prejudices. I pulled up to my childhood home in the early morning light, the place that once seemed so confining, so limiting. The garden was overgrown, the yard a canvas of weeds and neglect. I stepped out of the car, taking a deep breath, feeling the weight of years, of battles fought and won. My family was sitting on the porch when I arrived, their surprised faces a mirror of the disbelief I'd once faced when I dared to dream. My father, stiff and quiet, watched me like a stranger. My mother's eyes widened as she saw me walk confidently toward them, dressed in a sleek, eco-conscious outfit I designed myself, my hair styled, my face glowing with pride. I didn't wait for their words. I reached into my bag and pulled out a portfolio, my journey, my work, my success. I placed it on the table and looked directly at them, my voice steady yet filled with emotion. "You told me I was wasting my time," I said, "that I was an embarrassment, that my dreams were foolish. But I turned that doubt into drive. I built something from nothing, something real, something lasting. And I did it not just for me, but for everyone like me. People told they couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. Watch." Before I could say more, I led them to the backyard. I wanted them to see what I'd created, not just a business, but a symbol of growth, resilience, and hope. I pressed a button, an app I developed for eco-friendly fashion tips, and the backyard's hidden transformation unfurled before their eyes. The barren land behind our house had been turned into a lush, thriving garden, flowering plants, fruit trees, thriving vegetables. It was a living testament to what hard work, faith, and a little bit of daring could accomplish. I led them through the garden, each step revealing my vision come to life. My mother stooped to touch a bloom. Her expression conflicted, part pride, part regret. My father finally looked me in the eyes, softer than I'd ever seen him, and asked, "How did you do this?" I looked at them, the people who once dismissed my dreams, and finally understood something profound. I had become more than just a fashion influencer. I had become a symbol of resilience, proof that the greatest failures are often stepping stones to the most extraordinary victories. Standing there, in the midst of this transformational oasis, I realized something else. The power of a single person to change not just their own life, but the world around them was nothing short of miraculous. I found my purpose, my voice, my truth. And as I watched my family's faces shift from skepticism to awe, I knew I had finally earned their respect, not by shouting or proving I was right, but by living my truth. The ridicule that once echoed as a chorus of doubt had become the foundation of my triumph. I turned back to Em, tears threatening, but held back by a fierce sense of gratitude. "You see," I said softly, "we're all capable of transforming what we think is dead and useless. Because failure isn't the end, it's just the beginning. The only thing standing between us and our dreams is the courage to keep going, even when everyone else says we can't." That moment, standing among the blooms I had planted with my own hands, was my catharsis. It was the universe's way of telling me that the past's pain, the dismissiveness, the mockery, they all shaped me into someone who refused to settle for less. I had turned rejection into redemption, silence into a symphony of success. And I knew, without a doubt, that the greatest victory was not just my success, but the truth I could now share with others. Never let anyone define your worth, because the true measure of your life is the love, passion, and resilience you pour into it. And in the end, that's what truly... This is my story, and I hope it reminds you, no matter how dark the beginning, a single spark of belief can ignite a revolution within.